Welcome back. As people across the nation and right here in Green Country work and learn from home, there's a greater risk for dangerous accidents, especially with little ones. This morning we have special guest Andy Little with the Tulsa Fire Department joining us to talk fire safety as we navigate life from home. Andy, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Well, this week is Fire Prevention Safety Week. Now, the theme is serve up fire safety in the kitchen. So my question to you, what's the most common kind of fire that we see in kitchens?
Well, it does vary, but nationwide, the leading cause of fire is kitchen fires. So, oftentimes grease fires are an issue. And we see a lot of scald injuries from children. So it's not necessarily always a fire, but just fire safety in general. We want families to know that there are many, many dangers in the kitchen, and they need to try to take precautions to keep their families safe and keep people from getting injured and prevent fires.
And right now, as people are doing more cooking from home, maybe getting the family involved in meal prep as kids are cooped up inside, what kind of precautions can people take to stop these fires or just these incidents from happening before they start?
Well, the big thing is always paying attention when you're cooking. If you're frying something, have something on the cooktop, you should be with it. If you leave the room, you should turn it off. If you have small children in the home, they can easily pull that off. That can catch fire. If you should have a grease fire, we recommend that you always have a lid to your pans around close by. So you can put that lid on it, extinguish that fire quickly, and then shut the burner off. If you don't want to use a lid, you can use a cookie sheet, which actually gives you a little bit more distance from that fire, so you might feel safer to put the lid on it. But we don't want you to try to fight fire. We want you to call 911 and get out of your home should you have a fire, because our firefighters are trained to handle these situations, and it'll be much safer in the end.
Absolutely. So where do we compare this year than years past now with the pandemic going on? Is it consistent?
It actually is consistent. And, I kind of figured we would see more house fires and kitchen fires with the kids being at home, like you mentioned. But it has been pretty consistent. Another tip, that parents need to think about is make sure that we keep those kids away from the cooktops, keep those handles for their pots turned away from the edge so that they can't pull those down, and make sure you have your cooktop clear so you don't have any flammable items, no dish rags or loose clothing anywhere near those burners.
And it is going to be getting a little bit colder here in the next couple of months. So some tips that people can use at home. I know space heaters are a big issue when it comes to fires too. Absolutely.
And we always see an increase in fires as it gets colder because people turn those floor furnaces on. They turn those space heaters on. With the space heaters, it's important that you always follow manufacturer's recommendations. Make sure that it's not in an area where your pet's dog or cat can knock it over. It's always a good idea to get a newer space heater that has those limit switches in them. So if it were to be turned over, it automatically turns itself off. It's also important to make sure that no drapes or flammable items are anywhere near that space heater. It's a good idea to keep them at least 3 feet away.
All right, some helpful tips there for Fire Prevention Safety Week. Andy Little with the Tulsa Fire Department. We appreciate you joining us and good to see you this morning.
Good to see you as well, Corey.